is regarding the torsion design. Right. So limit set of callers for torsion. So if you see your IS 456-2000, the separate clause is given for that. The clause number is 41. Right. So if you read clause number 41 on IS 456-2000, there are some criteria given for torsion design. So before going to that, let us understand what is torsion. So loads acting normal to the plane of bending will cause bending moment and shear force. So if the forces are acting like this, normal to the plane of the bending, will cause bending moment and shear force. So here bending moment and shear force in the beam will develop if it is only a beam. Now loads away from the plane of bending will induce torsional moment along with bending moment and shear. Let us see this in the figure. So suppose you cast a cantilever slab from the beam and the load is applied on this slab. So your moment, shear and torsion will also be induced in the beam. So your beam will have torsional moment, right? Beam will have torsional moment. It will try to twist like this, right? So as you can see, it will try to twist like this. So torsional moments are of two types. First, primary or equilibrium torsion, and secondary or compatibility torsion. The primary torsion is required for the basic static equilibrium of most of the statically determinate structures. Accordingly, this torsion moment must be considered in the design. The secondary torsion is required to satisfy the compatibility condition between members. No specific design for torsion is necessary. Well, so this is about primary and secondary compatibility torsion. So let us go to clause number 41 in IS 456. What it stipulates that in structures where torsion is required to maintain equilibrium, members shall be designed for torsion in accordance with 41.2, 41.3 and 41.4. So what it says, when torsion is required to maintain equilibrium, members shall be designed for torsion in accordance with 41.2, 3 and 4. However, for such indeterminate structures where torsion can be eliminated by releasing redundant restraints, no specific design for torsion is necessary, provided torsional stiffness is neglected in the calculation of internal forces. Adequate control of any torsional cracking is provided by the shear reinforcement as per clause number 40. Right? So additional control of any torsional crack, the prevention is given according to clause number 40 for shear reinforcement. Right. So let us see this frame. This is a space frame, and in this there is a secondary torsion. So if the loadings are acting like this, your frame will be having secondary torsion. Similarly, L beams supporting cantilever sunshades and canopies, in this it will be a primary torsion. So suppose this is a L beam, right? It is supporting some cantilever balcony or let us say canopy or sunshades. So there will be a torsional moment. So this will be a primary torsion, and the space frame is an example of a secondary torsion. Then edge beams, suppose this is a slab and these are the two edge beams. So edge beams are the examples of secondary torsion. Then curved beams in plan. So beams curved in plan are examples of primary torsion. Then this is a sunshade, or let us say a parking lot shade. It is an example of primary torsion. So this is a cantilever portion taken out. This is beam AB, right? So it will try to get torsion in this regards. So this is an example of a primary torsion. Right? So let us go to IS code and see the clause number 41, what is given in the code. So clause number 41 is on page number 74, right? So in structures where torsion is required to maintain equilibrium, members shall be designed for torsion in accordance with these three clauses. However, for such indeterminate structures where torsion can be eliminated by releasing redundant restraints, no specific design for torsion is necessary provided torsional stiffness is neglected in the calculation of internal forces. Right, so this we have seen, right? And moving forward, 40.1.1, the design rules laid down by 41.3 and 41.4 shall apply to beams of solid rectangular cross section. However, these clauses may be applied to flange beams by substituting BW for B, in which case they are generally conservative. Therefore, specialist literature may be referred to. Then 40.2 is about critical section. So sections located less than distance small d from the face of support may be designed for same torsion as computed at distance d, where d is the effective depth. So this is a critical section for torsion, right? Sections located at less than distance d, d is the effective depth from the face of support, may be designed for same torsion as computed at distance d. Then shear and torsion. So equivalent shear will be Vc shall be calculated from the formula Vc equal to Ve, equivalent shear Ve is equal to Vu plus 1.6 Tu divided by B. So we are converting torsion into equivalent shear. So equivalent shear Ve is given by Vu plus 1.6 times Tu divided by B. The equivalent nominal shear stress tau V in this case shall be calculated as given in 40.1. Except for substituting Vu for Vu by Ve. The values of tau Ve shall not exceed the values of tau Cmax given in table number 20. If the equivalent normal shear stress tau Ve does not exceed tau C given in table number 19, minimum shear reinforcement shall be provided as per 26.5.1.6. But if tau Ve exceed tau C given in table number 19, both longitudinal and transverse reinforcement shall be provided in accordance with 41.4. Now let us see how to provide that. Reinforcement in members subjected to torsion. So reinforcement for torsion when required shall consist of longitudinal and transverse reinforcement both. Right, this is important. So let us talk about longitudinal reinforcement. The longitudinal reinforcement shall be designed to resist an equivalent bending moment Me1 given by Mu plus M1. Me1 is equal to Mu plus M1, where Mu is bending moment at cross section and Mu1 is, or Mut, Tu into 1 plus d by b divided by 1.7. So you can calculate this. And next we have where, what is Tu? Tu is the torsional moment, d is the overall depth of the beam and b is the breadth of the beam. Then if the numerical values of Mt as defined in 41.4.2 exceeds the numerical value of moment Mu, longitudinal reinforcement shall be provided on the flexural compression face such that the beam can withstand an equivalent Me2 given by Mt minus Mu, the moment Me2 being taken as acting in the opposite sense to the moment Mu. Then 41.4.3 is for transverse reinforcement. So two-legged closed hoop enclosing the corner longitudinal bars shall have an area of cross section AV given by this formula, right? But the total transverse reinforcement shall not be less than the formula given, right? Tau V minus tau C into B divided by SC divided by 0.87 Fy. So this is for minimum shear reinforcement, minimum transverse reinforcement for torsion, right? So we are supposed to use these clauses when we are doing the design for torsion. It is given in clause number 41, page number 74 of IS 456-2000. Now next, let us understand the behavior in torsion. So suppose consider a beam like this, right? Take two sections at top and bottom and apply a torsion moment, right? Apply a torsion moment. So the planes will be deformed like this. This is a deformation shape of the planes, right? Shear stresses, then principal stresses, and the cracks will develop like this in the bottom, in the side face, and in the top face of your beam. So crack profile will be A, B, C, D, E. ED in the bottom face, then DC in the front face, CB in the top face, and BA in the back face. Torsional cracks, crack pattern is of helical shape and they can be represented on all four faces. Now equivalent shear and moment as per IS 456. So we have seen this. Takes into account the combined effects of bending moment, shear force and torsional moment by two empirical relations for. First is equivalent shear VE, as we have seen in the IS code, which is there in 41.3.1. Equivalent bending moment ME1, it is given in 41.4.2. So this is the equation for equivalent shear. VE is equal to VU plus 1.6 TU divided by B. And this is for ME1, MU plus MT. So this is given in the IS code, as we already seen in the previous IS code that we have seen. So let us solve one small example using these values. A reinforced concrete rectangular beam of width B 300 mm, D 600 mm and overall depth is 650 mm is subjected to a factored shear force VU 70 kN in one section. Assuming the percentage of tensile reinforcement as 0.5 in that section, determine the factored torsional moment that the section can resist if no additional reinforcement for torsion is provided and maximum steel for torsion is provided in that section. Assume grade of concrete as M30. So let us solve this example using the formulas that we have seen in the IS code. So case A, when no additional reinforcement for torsion is provided. So when this type of stuff is there, right? So first we need to go to table number 19. So for M30 concrete with 0.5% tensile reinforcement, we can find the tau C. So let us go to table number 19, IS 456 2000, table number 19. Right, this is table number 19, design shear strength concrete. So for PT, it is given in the first column. For PT value 0.5, for M30 grade, tau C is 0.5 Newton per mm square. So written here 0.5 Newton per mm square. So equivalent nominal shear stress tau VE is equal to tau C, which is 0.5 Newton per mm square. Now equivalent shear VE is equal to tau VE into BD. Equivalent shear tau VE is equal to, VE is equal to tau VE into BD. So we know the value of tau V, which is 0.5, B is 300, D is 600, and then divide by 1000 is for conversion the values into kilonewton. So we get this value as 90 kilonewton VE, equivalent shear force. So once we get this equivalent shear force, we can easily find out the torsional moment using the formula given in clause number 41.3.1. The formula is VE is equal to VU plus 1.6 TU divided by B. So VE is 90, VU given in the data is 70, 1.6 TU divided by B is 300, that is 0.3. So we get our torsional moment as 3.75 kilonewton into meter. Now for case B, maximum steel for torsion is provided in that section. So same way for M30 grade concrete from table number 20. Now from table number 20, now we need to calculate tau C max value. So let us go to IS code and table number 20. This is for tau C maximum. So for M30 grade, tau C maximum is 3.5. So tau C maximum is 3.5. So equivalent nominal shear stress tau VE also 3.5 Newton per mm square. Now we need to find out VE, which is tau VE into BD. So 3.5 into 300 into 600. So we get this value as 630 kilonewton. Again, using the formula given in clause number 41.3.1, VE is equal to VU plus 1.6 TU divided by B. So if you calculate this, you will get your torsional moment answer as 105 kilonewton into meter. So you can see the difference. In the previous case, we are getting the value. Let us see how much value we are getting in the previous case. We are getting 3.75 when no additional torsion reinforcement for torsion is provided. So when this case is there, we are getting torsional moment as 3.75 kilonewton into meter. And when we provide maximum steel for torsion, then we get this answer as 105 kilonewton into meter. Right. Next, let us see reinforcement for combined effects of bending, shear and torsion. Provided in the form of, first, either it is provided in the form of transverse reinforcement only or longitudinal and transverse reinforcement both. So case A, transverse reinforcement only as per clause number 41.3.2. So what it says, if equivalent nominal shear stress tau VE does not exceed tau C given in table number 19, minimum shear reinforcement shall be provided as per clause number 26.5.1.6. And case B, longitudinal and transverse reinforcement both. So this is given in clause number 41.3.3. What it says, if tau VE exceed tau C given in table number 19, both longitudinal and transverse reinforcement shall be provided in accordance with 41.4. So first, longitudinal reinforcement on flexural tension phase, clause number 41.4.2. So this is given in clause number 41.4.2. Longitudinal reinforcement. The longitudinal reinforcement shall be designed to resist an equivalent bending moment ME1 given by MU plus MT. What is MU? Bending moment at the cross section, and MT is TU into 1 plus D by B divided by 1.7. TU is the torsional moment, right? And second case, longitudinal reinforcement on flexural compression phase as per clause number 41.4.2.1. This is the clause. If numerical value of MT is defined in 41.4.2 exceeds the numerical value of the moment, longitudinal reinforcement shall be provided on the flexural compression phase also. So if MT is greater than MU, then we need to do this step such that the beam can also withstand equivalent moment ME2 given by MT minus MU. The moment ME2 being taken as acting in the opposite sense to the moment MU. And third, transverse reinforcement, clause number 41.4.3. So for transverse reinforcement, this is for stirrups, two-legged closed hoop enclosing the corner longitudinal bars shall have an area of cross section ASV given by the equation given in the code. Right? So this is a formula which is given there, but the total transverse reinforcement shall not be less than tau VE minus tau C into BSV divided by 0.87 Fy. Then distribution of torsion reinforcement. Let us see how to distribute this torsion reinforcement. It is given in clause number 26.5.1.7. The distribution of torsion reinforcement, when a member is designed for torsion reinforcement shall be provided as below. The transverse reinforcement for torsion shall be rectangular enclosed stirrup placed perpendicular to the axis of member. The spacing of stirrup shall not exceed the least of x1 or x1 plus y1 divided by 4 and 300 mm where x1 and y1 are respectively the short and long dimensions of the stirrups. x1 and y1 are the short and long dimensions of the stirrups. Longitudinal reinforcement shall be placed as close as possible to the corners of the cross section, and in all cases there shall be at least one longitudinal bar in each corner of the ties. When the cross sectional dimensions of the member exceeds 450 mm, additional longitudinal bars shall be provided to satisfy the requirements of minimum reinforcement and spacing given in clause number 26.5.1.3. Then regarding the side face reinforcement, it is given in clause number 26.5.1.3 and 26.5.1.7b. So let us see what is that. So first, 26.5.1.3, beams exceeding depth of 750 mm and subjected to bending moment and shear shall have side face reinforcement. So this is the criteria for side face reinforcement if the depth exceeds 750 mm and subjected to bending moment and shear. The total area of side face reinforcement shall be at least 0.1% of web area and shall be distributed equally on two faces at a spacing not exceeding 300 mm or web thickness, whichever is less. So this is given in the IS 456-2000 clause number 26.5.1.3 regarding side face reinforcements. Let's see 26.5.1.7b. However, if beams are having torsional moment also, the side face reinforcement shall be provided for overall depth exceeding 450 mm. So if the torsion moment is there, then we need to check the depth exceeds 450 mm, then we provide side face reinforcements. Now let us see second example using the equations and formulas and values that we have seen right now. A reinforced concrete rectangular beam width B is equal to 300 mm, D is 600 mm, overall depth is 650, subjected to factored shear force VU is 70 kN, MU is 215 kN meter, TU is 100 kN meter. Assume M30 grade concrete, Fe 415 grade steel, and design the reinforcement for this using this data. So step number 1, first we need to find out equivalent shear as per clause number 41.3.1. So VE is equal to VU plus 1.6 TU divided by B. So VU is 70, TU is 100, B is 0.3 meter. So VE you get as 603 kilonewton. Then tau VE is equal to VU divided by BD. So VU is 603 into 10 raised to 3 divided by B into D. You get tau VE as 3.35 Newton per mm square. Now for M30 grade concrete from table number 20, tau C max is 3.5 Newton per mm square. So in this case, our tau V is less than tau C max. Therefore, depth provided is okay. Therefore, whatever depth we have provided, it is sufficient. Right. Next, step number 2 is for equivalent moment, clause number 41.4.2. So ME1 is equal to MU plus MT. So what is MT value? MT, the formula is given for MT in the code. Let us see that formula. MT is given in the code. Right, here it is. MT is TU into 1 plus D by B divided by 1.7. So we put that formula here. TU into 1.7, 1 plus D by B, right? TU divided by 1.7 into 1 plus D by B. So ME1 is equal to, MU is given in the data, which is 215, TU is 100 and D by B. So if you substitute all the values, you can get ME1 as 401.3 kN into meter. Now as per clause number 41.4.2.1, so let us see what is given in 41.4.2.1. 41.4.2.1, this clause, if the numerical value MT defined exceeds numerical value of moment MU, the longitudinal reinforcement shall be provided on the flexural compression face such that beam can also withstand equivalent moment Me2 given by Mt minus Mu. So let us check that since Mt, which is 186.3, is less than Mu, which is 215, no compression reinforcement is required. Only longitudinal tension reinforcement is provided. Right? So this is as per that clause we have checked, Mt and Mu. Step number 3, tension reinforcement. So XU max by D for Fe415 grade is 0.48. So as per clause number G1.1c, Mu limiting is given by 0.36 XU max by D 1 minus 0.42 XU max by D into BD square FCK. This is the formula which is given in Annex G1.1c. So limiting moment we get as 447 kilonewton into meter, which is greater than Me1. So if it is greater than Me1, hence the beam is under reinforced beam. Mu limiting is greater than Me1, then the beam is under reinforced beam. So now for under reinforced beam, we need to find out AST. So AST is given by clause number G1.1b. The formula is there. So formula is Mu is equal to 0.87 Fy AST into D into 1 minus AST into Fy divided by BD FCK. And this formula is there in G1.1b. So in this equation only unknown is AST. So you'll get an equation like this, and if you solve this equation, you will get your value of AST as 2237 mm square. Right? We get our AST value as 2237 mm square. Right? So now we need to assume a diameter of bar and find out the number of bars. So let us assume diameter of bar as 25 mm. Right? Assume diameter of bar as 25 mm. So if I provide 5 number of 25 mm diameter bars, my AST provided is 2454 mm square. How to find out AST provided? It is 5 multiplied by pi by 4 into 25 square. So if you calculate this value, you will get 2454 mm square, which is greater than AST required. Therefore it is okay. Once we get the value, next we need to check for side face reinforcement. Right? Side face reinforcement. Since the depth of beam exceeds 450 mm, we need to provide side face reinforcements also, because the torsion is there. So for that, the depth of beam, if it exceeds 450 mm, we need to provide side face reinforcements. So provide 2 bars near mid depth of the beam on each side. So we need to calculate web area. Web area is 300 into 600 divided by 2, right? 300 into 600. 300 is the width, 600 is the effective depth. So half of that will give us the web area. So we get our answer as 90,000 mm square. So area required for reinforcement will be 0.1% of web area. So 0.1 divided by 100 multiplied by area. So 90 mm square is the area required for side face reinforcement. So adopt 10 mm diameter bar. So if we provide 2 number of 10 mm diameter bars, we are going to provide 157 mm square as side face reinforcement, which is more than required 90 mm square. Therefore it is okay. So this is the final drawing that we can prepare. Right? So this is overall depth of your beam. This is side cover 49.5 from both the sides, side cover. Then this is the effective cover 93 mm, right, up to the reinforcement bars, right, and 2-legged 12T stirrups at 80 mm center to center, right, stirrups are provided, right. So this is a typical figure that you can prepare. Then step number 5 is for transverse reinforcement. So transverse reinforcement again are provided as per clause number 41.4.3. So assuming two-legged 12 mm dia bar stirrups, D1 effective depth 1, right? D1 will be 600 over minus 25 mm is the diameter of bar, minus 12 mm is a stirrup, and minus D by 2, right? So you get D1 as 557 mm, then B1 will be equal to 300 is the width, minus 2 into 25 plus 12 plus 12.5, right? So 12 is the diameter of bar, and 25 divided by 2 is this 12.5. So we get it B1 as 201 mm, right? So for this the formula is 0.87 Fy ASV divided by SV is equal to Tu into B1 D1, Tu divided by B1 into D1 plus Vu divided by 2.5 D1. So if you get your, put your values here, Tu is 100, B1 we calculated, D1 also we calculated, right? So if you substitute all these values, you get your 0.87 Fy ASV divided by SV value as 943.47 Newton per mm. 943.47 Newton per mm. But 0.87 Fy ASV divided by SV should be greater than or equal to tau VE minus tau C into B, right? So let us calculate that. 100 AST divided by BD, so 100 multiplied by AST we already know 2454 divided by BD, so PT 100 AST divided by BD is coming as 1.36. So from table number 19 we got our tau C value for PT as 1.36, we get our value as 0.735. So let us calculate this. 0.87 Fy ASV divided by SV should be greater than or equal to tau VE is 3.35, tau C is 0.735 divided by B is 300, so which comes out to be 754.5 Newton into Newton per mm, right? So we got this value as 784.5 Newton per mm. So we are going to adopt the higher values of these two values, right, which is we are getting in the previous calculation 943.47 Newton per mm. We already got this value for 0.87 Fy ASV divided by SV. So adopting that 943.47 mm value, ASV will be equal to 2 into pi by 4 d square, right? So area of shear reinforcement, two-legged, so 2 multiplied by pi by 4 d square. We have assumed the diameter of bar is 12, right? So we get our ASV as 226 mm square. So in this equation only unknown is now SV. So SV will be 0.87 multiplied by 415 multiplied by 226 divided by 943.47. So we get our spacing as 86.5 mm. Next, check for SV, checks for spacing as per clause number 26.5.1.7. We calculate first x1. So x1 is 300 minus 2 into 25 plus 6. 25 is the diameter of bar and 6 is the half of the diameter of a bar. So we are going to find the horizontal length of stirrup, right? So 300 is the overall length of our overall width of our section minus 2 into 25 plus 6. So we get this x1 as 238 mm. Then y1 is equal to 650 is the overall depth minus 2 into 25 plus 6. So we get this value as 588 mm. So maximum spacing will be minimum of x1 or x1 plus y1 divided by 4 or 300 mm. So our x1 is 238 mm. If we calculate x1 plus y1 divided by 4, I am getting this value as 206 mm. And third is 300. So out of these three, whichever is minimum, that will be the value of maximum spacing. So maximum spacing is 206 mm. Maximum spacing is 206 mm we can provide, but actually we are providing 86.5, therefore it is within the limit and therefore it is okay. So we can write that adopt two-legged 12 mm diameter bar at 80 mm center to center. 80 mm center to center. right? So this is how we can do the design of torsion reinforcement, right? I hope all of you are making notes of this and keep practicing, keep learning. If you have any doubts, you can ask your doubts in the comments. I'll try to resolve it as early as possible. Thank you so much for watching this. We'll see you in the next session with some more insightful sessions for elementary design of reinforced concrete structures. Thank you so much for watching this. See you in the next session.